everyone. Welcome back to the Talkoffame podcast. I'm Kyliemontigney, and I'm so excited to welcome Ruby Bell. Australian born, Los Angeles raised, London educated, current New York resident. Did a MA in fashion media practice and criticism at University of the Arts, London. Written full-page articles published in Elle UK, taken photographs featured in Vogue and Prada, made her own films that have collected some laurels. Another fun fact about her is that she took Latin for 5 years, but at this point, she's probably only speaking it as well as a 3-year-old ancient Roman child. Welcome to the show, Ruby. I'm so excited to chat many things that you have done so far.
Thank you so much for having me.
Starting from your beginning, can you tell us kind of your journey starting out in Australia and kind of moving down to some of the world's influential cities like Los Angeles, London, and New York?
Yeah, so I'm originally from Australia, even though my accent I think is a little bit wonky at the moment from moving around. But my family moved to LA when I was about 4, and then we used to go back and forth between LA and Sydney for a while until I got to about 11, and we stayed in LA. And it was fun bouncing back and forth, but there was a bit of FOMO where it was like everyone would be talking about the school camp I didn't go on and I wasn't in the yearbook or something. So once I started year 6 at 11, I started doing like the full year, school year in one place. And then by the time college came around, I felt like I wanted to live in another city and that college was a good excuse for it. And I'd gone to visit London when I was about 14 and I just really liked the city and I wanted to live there. And they
Mhm.
had a really good art school. So that was the only school I applied to because they do their admissions in November. So the one I applied to, I got in and I committed to it. And then once I used up my student visa and I was going to come back to America, I'd always wanted to come to New York. So I decided to come here.
So to go back on your college process, like you only applied to one college?
Yeah, it was a little bit before the American college applications had
Mm.
opened. So, and they told you on the spot if you got in or not. So, like,
Wait,
you do an interview. Yeah, so it was like a Skype interview because obviously I wasn't there. Um, and they said I was in, and then they took like 48 hours to actually send any of the paperwork. So I told everyone I got in, and then a day passed. I was like, maybe I just had what I wanted to hear, but it just took a second to send the material. So I didn't have to apply anywhere else because I knew I wanted to go there.
That's crazy because when for the US, like the applications open like on the first day of August or the first week of August. That's when it opens. I'm a senior in high school right now, so I'm in the mix of applying. And
Yeah.
I literally applied to like 16 schools so far. And like
Yeah.
I can't imagine just applying to this one school in case like for the worst part and don't get in.
I had time. I had a buffer just in case. I guess I would have known that day if I needed to do a bunch of other and I went because I went to high school in America. I had to, they kind of make you fill out all the forms and everything ready to go to apply. So I had a plan B, but I didn't need to implement it.
Hey, just see if you get in, then that
Yeah.
plan B, you can always just apply to US schools. Like that's probably
Yeah.
like the same option I would probably do.
Yeah.
Like what was kind of school like in London in Australia? Like what was kind of like the school system like? Because I know, like I don't know too much about the system, but I know it's so much different from like the school system here in the US.
Yeah, for Australia, I only did primary school, which is like elementary school. And I went to a Montessori because I used to go back and forth and it was a little bit easier to slip back in.
Mhm.
Um, so that was fine. I had a good experience with that. And then when I started middle school, I went to a normal public school and I was a little ahead, if anything. I wasn't behind. I liked school. I was a good student.
Yeah, I was the same way. Like it was kind of like a normal school. I went to a public school before I turned online. It was like a regular like high school, regular school. And with Pennsylvania, it's like all like smaller schools, so it's not like big like schools. Of course, there's like college preparatory schools around the area, but there's nothing like insane to the point where like it's kind of like all college high schools.
Yeah, right. LA was a little bit like that as well. But London was good. It was chill. There was the college there. You only have class like twice a week, 3 times a week. I wish I'd traveled more. I came home with savings, and I think I should have spent my savings doing those cheap little weekend trips once you're already over there. But there's only one turn in, at least at my school, a semester. So you had to use your free time to do schoolwork.
That's crazy. I wish Pennsylvania or US does that because that would actually be fantastic to only go in 2 or 3 times a week.
Yeah, it was a nice work-life balance or school-life balance, I guess.
It is because what the Pennsylvania schools, the US schools, you only go in 5 times, like 5 days a week, always, no
Yeah,
matter what. But with college is different. Like people sometimes just go online or they pick their own college schedules. But to go in 2 or 3 times a week, that is literally a dream. Like just do whatever
yeah,
you want and just stick to that schedule.
yeah. And I looked forward to going to school because it was sort of like fun to have that sort of structure to each week.
Yeah, and plus it's in London. Like I would
Yeah,
also, if I was in London and only went to 2 or 3 classes a week, I would be literally loving my life.
yeah. It was a good time. You should
But
check it out.
take that time to explore, or what did you do with all that free time?
I definitely did spend a lot of it doing schoolwork, and I'm just someone that's not real. I don't really get bored easily. Like I like making things, and I started doing when I was living there. I started making little video diaries that aren't quite vlogs, but they're sort of like my memories, and it's nice to share with friends. So that takes time to edit. I really like drawing. Um, I was working a little bit. Like I didn't have trouble filling up the time. It got really cold, but I guess you would know that in Pennsylvania
Yeah,
as well.
London I think is gets much colder than you in the winter than Pennsylvania though.
I guess depends on the year.
I know, like with all that diary stuff, like you should post that as like a vlog or something on YouTube to share.
Yeah, I do. I post them on, I have a YouTube channel that it's kind of just for me, but I know some other people like them and they're easy to share. So I have a live and YouTube channel where I
Great
post
idea.
them.
Because that's something that I know if people are interested in maybe going to London or something, that is something
Ha
that a lot of people would like to watch if they want to like learn something about London or like a day in the life or something.
Yeah, that was kind of the idea behind it. And it's nice for me to look back on too, because it is kind of a day in the life. And I started making them at Christmas and everything, and now some family members aren't with us anymore. It's nice to have the kind of video diary of hanging out with them, that kind of they're nice memories for all of us.
It is. And to go on with Elle UK, so you have full page articles published in that magazine and photos featured by Vogue and Prada. Like, what's one of your proudest moments or most memorial published pieces and why?
The L article was pretty fun. I did that was sort of a through my school, they had an opportunity to work with the magazine, which is a house publication. I always liked the style a little more than some of the other fashion magazines. I was working like with about 5 other students, and they asked me to write one of the articles. So obviously, I left it the chance. So that was pretty cool. Especially because part of my degree is in journalism, and I didn't really chase that up. So I feel like I got a little taste of journalism by doing that. And I didn't know where the photos I take go. So it's always exciting to see them pop up and people send them to me even before I see them. So the Vogue one was really fun. That one, my first Vogue photo they uploaded it on my birthday coincidentally. So that was a
Oh,
nice
wow.
little birthday present.
That is a good birthday present. Like by Vogue, like nothing
Yeah.
will ever top that for me.
Yeah. Universe.
I know. What a coincidence. They picked the right day for you.
Yeah, exactly.
So you've been involved in high-profile projects like the Elvis movie, which is one of my personal favorite movies, Ashton, and collaborations with New Kids on the Block, which is also one of my favorite bands. Can you tell us about each of these projects came about and your role was? Because I know your kind of main projects in photography, but what's kind of your involvement in these projects?
So with Elvis, I signed up to do like a really menial job of like basically data wrangling and like filing things for people. And then they got given some manual cameras by this nice camera brand that I happen to know how to use. So when they were asking if I could show them, they were like, "Do you mind just shooting one of the wig tests for us?" And then people asked who took the photos and could I do the hair and makeup tests and costume tests. And then once the shoot started, Hugh Stewart, who's like a fashion photographer, was shooting and he was in quarantine because it was 2020. So they asked me to go on set for a little bit. And then he really went to bat for me with production, was like, we take really different photos. And he was a really good mentor for me and kind of showed me the set etiquette. So that's how I ended up getting into shooting stills for those types of projects. And then when I moved here, doing commercials and a couple other films that haven't come out yet, but hopefully in the next few weeks, I'll post updates. But uh, that's how I kind of learned that that was a job where you got to work with filmmakers. And
Mhm.
I genuinely love taking photos and just meeting people. Commercials are fun because they're much shorter. So the New Kids on the Block, I'd worked on that director's short film. And then when she got that music video for their reunion, she asked me about it. And obviously, I leapt at the chance because that's such a fun group to shoot.
Mhm.
Uh, so I got to take some photos with them. They were all really good spots. They were good models and everything. Um, and then Ashen is my project. So I want to be a director. Um, and when I was working on feature films, just as like a PA or as an assistant, I would talk to the other assistants, and some of them wanted to be costume designers or screenwriters. So we decided to start making our own projects because we figured no one's going to be like, oh, they're nice, they can be the director. So Ashen's the most recent one we've been working on, and it's children's horror. We decided to make it animated, like Coraline, Corpse Bride, that kind of genre.
Mhm.
And we thought with animation we could kind of have a bit more fun with crafting the world and designing the characters and designing the sets without having to actually get a location and acquire like really crazy vintage furniture because it's set in the 1950s.
Mhm.
Um, so it's sort of a Caroline Peter Pan. There's like a monstrous little kid in it that's pretty fun. We've gotten good responses to that. Uh, but that one's I think that'll be done by the end of the year. We're doing lighting and sound mixing at the moment.
Awesome. I can't wait to see all the updates on this. That sounds so good. But to go on back on New Kids on the Block, I met Joey McIntyre a few years ago at a Red Sox game. And oh my God, that guy is literally the most awesome person ever. Like he's literally so good.
Yeah, they were so nice, so fun. They're genuinely fun to work with. Like they make the set not a game, but it's like they're having fun, the crew's having fun. It's like a
I
good
know.
day.
Like they always have like funny down to earth personalities to the point where they could probably have their own like comedy show or something.
Yeah, and they were so nice. They shot outside at one point and some pedestrians recognized them and they were taking photos with them and they were FaceTiming their friends and asking them to say hi and they were more than happy to do it. They were really good at engaging
Oh my God,
with
that is so
their
sweet.
fans. Yeah.
So going back to Elvis, like, did you meet Austin Butler?
Yeah, so we got to know each other professionally, obviously. He's very sweet, very professional to work with. He in the tests, so we worked together through prep before we started shooting the movie, which was honestly handy because I'd been at the actors' costume fittings and everything. They knew who I was, so it wasn't like I was like some stranger getting in their face with a camera. Like they knew, but they kind of had trust in me about what the photos were going to look like and that we had fun together. So yeah, he was great. He was such a joy to work with, really committed to the role, really lovely to chat with. Great
Like
guy.
is he we all knew he was dedicated to a role if he still has his Elvis voice like, a year or two after they stopped filming.
I haven't seen him in a while, but he he's a good chatter. He chats.
I know. Like it's crazy because the way it turned out when the movie was released, like everything was literally perfect from the moment it started to the moment it ended. It was literally well described in Elvis's life.
Yeah, and that same team is making Joan of Arc next, so I think that'll be a fun one to see as well.
Well, 100%, yeah. So, next question I have for you is what's been one of the most memorable or surprising moments from working on these high-profile projects?
I think the most surprising thing was because I'd only ever done much lower, like PA jobs as like production assistant, where you like do like trash sweeps and put tables up and you're getting people coffee, um, like a very hustle and bustle job. It's such a nice people, and I got to kind of be able to talk to the lighting team, which has helped my photo career as well, just learning on the go and being with people that are such professionals and so knowledgeable and so eager to, they want to work with you. They're not trying to run the show themselves. So that's been one of the nice communal moments of being on these sets.
That's so cool. Like to go on these sets as like a photographer, PA, or whatever, like you get to see things that you didn't expect to see, which is something that I hope to get into the next couple of years when I
Yeah.
go to college or whatever. But that is something that to me, like, is such a dream for a lot of people to be celebrities, idols or whatever. It is such a dream. Maybe work on projects like Elvis or something. Like, those are big movies that people have been obsessed with for months or years.
Yeah, I mean, I would say sign up to be a PA because that's how most people get a bump up is because you don't have to have a resume or anything really to be a PA. You can kind of just sign up to do it. And then my best advice to that would be to, if you know you like camera world or you like photo or you like sound, or art department to chat with the people on set, ask them to show you things. You might get kind of poached by them, which happens a lot, like when people are really into art department and they start showing an interest in asking to be taught things, art department will start asking them to do things. Now they know you know how to do it, and then you get absorbed into the department, you get a pay bump, you get a title bump, and it's a really nice way to kind of find your people and figure out what you actually like doing on
Definitely.
set.
It literally seems like such a fun job to have, though. Like to do that for a living, like I'd be like, this is my best life. I don't care what I do. As long as it work in movies or something, then that's all I need.
Yeah, and New York was a great place to do that because, especially with commercials where they're only a day or two, because you get to see the stock exchange or you get to see some townhouse mansion by the park. Like there's pretty cool shooting locations where they just kind of bring you around and you kind of just rock up at 6 a.m. or whatever time the shoot starts. You just push through the day and you come home with all these stories. Oh, yeah.
Like New York is honestly the place to be along with Los Angeles if you want to work in movies or commercials or something entertainment wise, because with New York, there's always something going on or celebrities, no matter what part of New York you are at.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It is the city that never sleeps, isn't it?
It
There's
is.
always something going on.
Exactly. So to wrap this up, for anyone dreaming of working on major productions like Elvis or creating iconic collaborations, like what advice would you give to them about breaking into the industry and standing out creatively?
I think spending your time, I was saying earlier, when I was in college and even in high school, just spending your time doing what you like doing. I love that quote that says, time you enjoy wasting is not wasted time. Because I feel like I did end up honing my craft. And when I liked my work, it helped me develop and kind of because I feel like when you're figuring it out, sometimes you're like, oh, I don't love this project as much. And I really liked doing that one. So I might do another one like that. And you just end up learning and you develop the skills. And that's my best advice for kind of finding your voice and finding your style, uh, regardless of the skill set. But I'd say just keep doing your own personal projects. And then also when you get interviews for jobs, you can show them and kind of like, I know how to use this program because I taught myself this, or I've been doing my own little film. So whatever your passion project is, I think it's always valuable, even if it's just for you to figure out what you like doing and what you're good at.
It takes time. Like no matter how old you are, you're still trying to figure it out. Like I am 18
Yeah,
years old, even if I'm doing whatever I'm doing, like it takes time to figure out something. Whatever you're 18, 30, 50, like you don't people don't care how old you are. As long as you have the experience and you love it, that's the most important thing.
absolutely. And it's fun when you love it. So it's good to figure out a way to love what you're doing.
It is. So that is the best way to wrap up this episode. Thank you everyone for listening and hope you guys learned a lot in this episode. I know a lot of Elvis fans out there will love this episode. If you're maybe an Elvis movie fan or just an Elvis fan or Austin Butler fan, this episode is definitely for you. If you guys have any questions or anything that you want me to ask her, just let me know. Send me a message. I'd be happy to send them over to her. But thank you so much, Ruby, for coming on and joining us and taking the time. It means so much, and I'd love to have you on.
Thank you so much for having me. And I try and check my DMs and everything. So if any of your listeners have questions, they can find me on Instagram and I'll try and write back to you. Sometimes people ask me little advice and I try and write back.
Awesome. So I will put like your socials in the description below in case anyone wants to send you a message or something. I'll make sure to put it in the description below. But thank you everyone for listening. Make sure to like, subscribe, and review, and stay tuned for the next episode. And I'll talk to you guys very soon.